Yes, good morning, all. We have already seen about how we can add users, how we can add groups, and what are the permissions of files, what are the permissions on directory. The videos which we have shared before is for an Ubuntu atmosphere. Let's see something for CentOS also. So there are slight differences in Ubuntu and CentOS commands. Let's see what are those differences with respect to groups and adding of users and adding of groups. So to begin with, we already know that there are three type of permissions: read, write, and execute, and these permissions are given to either at a user end or at groups end or at others ends. So let's add a user in CentOS. User add is the command. In Ubuntu, we added with add user. Over here, we call it user add. And then we give the name of the user. So let's call it US1. So a user has been added. Then to change the password for this user, the command goes pass wd us1. It asks for the password. I give a password to this user and the password has been set. So we have added a user by the name of us1. Let's see the user which has been added. It adds into the home directory. So let's see over here, it will be visible. It is visible over here, us1. Now if you see, by default this directory us1 has been created. It belongs to the user us1, and the group is also us1. The fourth column tells the group us1. This column, this is the group. It belongs to the user us1, and this is the user us1 directory. And by default the permissions which is there is read, write, and execute for user. For group and others it is given zero permissions. So let's add another user before we proceed. We call it us2 and change the password for the user 2 also. So password has been changed. Let's clear the screen and let's again run this ls minus l. So this is user 2. User 2 has also been created, and if we see, it belongs to user 2 and the group is us2. So this is the command which we have seen to add a user in a CentOS environment. In Ubuntu, we have already seen in the previous video. Over here, we do it by user add. Now to add a group, that how can we add a group in CentOS. So let's see that how can we add a group. Now what is the benefit of the group? We have already seen in Ubuntu atmosphere the theoretical part, that what is the benefit of adding a group. The benefit of adding a group is that if we have got different users and we make them join in a group, so what happens, that we make them join in a group, then they can access the files, being the members of the same group. So how to add a group? The command is group add and then name of the group. So let's give the name gr1. So a group has been created. It says, sorry, I have written a small wrong spelling, group, group add gr1. A group has been added. Now how do we know that a group has been added? The groups are added in the directory known as group. So we tail the directory etc group. The tail we give only the last commands. It, so you see that yes, gr1, a new group has been created. You see, we added a user us1. By default, it was linked to the group us1. Therefore, it shows over here also, and us2 also is being shown over here. Remember that there are two types of group. One is known as a primary group and second is known as a secondary group. What is the difference between this primary group and the secondary group? What is the difference? Let's see this thing, that what is the difference between these two words. Primary group is the group which is created by the operating system itself. Primary is created by the operating system itself when the user is made, created by operating system, created by operating system, created by operating system. Let me type it over here. Created by operating system. When we make a user. So whenever we make a user, a primary group is created by a operating system. A user belongs to that primary group. By default, whatever is the name of that user, it becomes the name of the group. But we can add the user to more groups, to more secondary groups, and we can even modify the groups of the user. We can even modify the primary groups of the user and we can add it to another primary group. Okay, so let's see. We have added two users, us1 and us2. Let's see the details of these users. What information does it give? If we see to it clearly, it tells that user ID for US1 is 517, the group ID is 519, and it belongs to the group US1. So this is the primary group. This field denotes the primary group for the user US1. And this tells that whatever groups a user belongs to. A user can belongs to multiple groups. इस चीज को आप कैसे समझेंगे? आप एक टीम में काम कर रहे हैं, उस टीम के 4 मेंबर्स हैं, उन चारों मेंबर्स को हमने एक ग्रुप में ऐड कर दिया, तो चारों मेंबर्स एक दूसरे के काम को देख सकते हैं, एक दूसरे के काम में चेंजेस कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज दीज 4 मेंबर्स बिलोंग टू अ पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप. तो इस तरह से ग्रुप्स का फायदा है. अभी एक पर्टिकुलर यूजर ऐड करा गया है US1, वो एक ग्रुप में एडेड है US1. अब इस यूजर के इस प्राइमरी ग्रुप को मुझे चेंज करना है. सो हाउ कैन आई चेंज? द कमांड टू चेंज इज यूजर मॉड. हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं? सेंटोस की. यूजर मॉड -G, ग्रुप मैंने बोला GR1 और US1. थोड़ी देर पहले US1 किससे लिंक था? US1 के साथ. अब मैंने इसका ग्रुप चेंज कर दिया. अगर मैंने ग्रुप चेंज कर दिया, कैसे पता चला कि चेंज हो गया? ID US1. तो अब आप ये देखो, इसका ग्रुप क्या दिखा रहा है? GR1. ये ग्रुप चेंज हो गया, ये ग्रुप चेंज हो गया. So this is how we can modify the group of a user. Another thing, ये मैंने उसका प्राइमरी ग्रुप चेंज करा. एक यूजर 15 सेकेंडरी ग्रुप्स के साथ ऐड हो सकता है. अगर मुझे उसे किसी दूसरे सेकेंडरी ग्रुप के साथ ऐड करना हो तो मैं क्या कमांड लगाऊंगा? -G. तो पहले एक और ग्रुप क्रिएट कर लेते हैं. ग्रुप ऐड GR2. हमने एक और ग्रुप बना दिया. अब हम क्या करेंगे? एक यूजर को एक से ज्यादा ग्रुप के साथ ऐड कर देते हैं. तो GR2 लगाया. और अब अगर हम आईडी देखें US1 का, तो आप यहां पर देख सकते हैं प्राइमरी ग्रुप इज GR1 बट इट बिलोंग्स टू टू ग्रुप्स, GR1 and GR2. So a user is linked with two groups now. So a user is linked with two groups now. So this is how we create a group and we use, or we can say, and this is how we create a group and we add user to a particular group, or this is how we change the group. अब इसका बेनिफिट क्या है कि जब हम उसकी परमिशंस चेंज करेंगे, रीड राइट एग्जीक्यूट परमिशंस चेंज करेंगे, तो हम उसके साथ प्ले कर सकते हैं, हम उसके साथ प्ले कर सकते हैं. तो ये कैसे प्ले कर सकते हैं, दिस विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर. थैंक यू.